We are all aware that the former presidential candidate, Peter Obi, has dumped the Labour Party for the African Democratic Congress ahead of the 2027 general election. Obi had joined other opposition leaders in July to present the ADC as a coalition platform to challenge President Tinubu in the 2027 election. All eyes is on the African Democratic Congress ADC. Labour Party was there before the Obident movement, but when Peter Obi came, he brought the party to the spotlight. Now, cracks are appearing in the African Democratic Congress over the presidential ambition of former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi. And the Obidient movement, which is a political group, not a party, are seriously rooting for Obi this time. The Obi's followers, also known as Obident, as we call them, are saying that he must be considered for the presidential ticket or they walk away.
So let me tell you something. Yeah. So that's a comment I made this time ago. I'm like, when we get there, because I don't want to say anything. For me, I love people to see the action. You know, people always be like, oh, when you get into a party, this. I will tell you, and I'm not mincing any words. Aisha Yusufu, today, and a lot of Nigerians, see, Mr. Peter Obi is that person who has the most competence, credibility, character, and trustworthiness of the people, that the people trust in to guide the nation to where it needs to be. And I'm not mincing words on that. And I tell you something, as we are, there is no anybody that can outspend APC as it is, because they have the resources of this nation to do whatever it is that they want, and they're already doing whatever it is that they want to do. But guess what? There is one person that can outpassion them, and that's Mr. Peter Obi. And because of him, there are people who are going to come out and put their lives on the line and say there will be no rigging that will be done when they see him on that ticket. You know, there are two things that usually you get when you have someone who is running for office. Usually it's either they're very competent, but unfortunately they don't have the people, they are not as popular, they are not like the people's choice that people are ready to go all out for. Or you have sometimes the people are ready to go all out for them, but on the competency level, they are a bit weak. But for the first time, in a long time that I can remember, I started voting in 1993. We have someone who these two qualities are in that person. He has the competence, and he's the one the people are yearning for. And so that's what we should be looking at. So
for you, it's Obi or nothing?
That's not what I'm saying. For me, it's Obi and Obi.
We as a movement are totally, unequivocally supporting Mr. Peter Obi. And at the same time, as Democrat, because the question was trying to malign Peter Obi as a nomadic politician. So and I said that, look, we will fight and deal with the issue democratically. And that's where we stand. The Obident movement is fully for His Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi. Fully. And so any decision that he takes is what we will follow.
When we say Obi or nothing, that statement doesn't exist in a vacuum. That statement was not pulled out of the air. That statement is in response to a certain atmosphere. And while we are fully in support of the coalition building process, it needs to be remembered by all parties concerned that that's exactly what it is, a coalition building process. We are not a monolith as a movement, like you rightly said, and even the coalition itself is a work in progress. So when we say Obi or nothing, coming from a movement that is named the Obidient movement, I think it's right on the nose what we mean. But for people who may choose to misconstrue it or put a different spin on it, let me spell it out plainly. It is simply a statement that is affirmative of where we stand in the political process. We have chosen Peter Obi, right, in the midst of so many players who have a right to run and who are capable of running. But a generation of Nigerians who were previously accused of being apathetic to politics, in the past few years, looked at the situation and really in a very organic process, evolved to say, you know what, we want to be a part of this process. And in being a part of this process, we need to look at the playing field and determine who amongst these players, right, best embodies the values that we have. And what are those values? Values that drive a Nigeria that works for everybody, not for some people. And Peter Obi, a movement coalesced around him very organically. He didn't pay for it. He couldn't pay for it. It's very organic. It is people that are passionate about the country. It is people that are passionate about what we want to see in the Nigeria of the immediate and in the near-term future. He represents all of those values. We can capture it in several words: character, competence, capacity. All right? So when we say Peter Obi or nothing, we are affirming where we stand. Does that mean we have rejected the coalition building process? No, we are part of it. We are currently engaging. If you look at the news around the country, Obident, since his official joining of the ADC, have started making moves to actually join the partisan structure itself. And let's address the elephant in the room. Having said all that I said, a certain rhetoric started to emerge, which we will not be shy about responding to. A certain rhetoric that made it look like there's a predetermined outcome, right, of the process. And let me say this way. If I were the spokesperson of the ADC, here's what I would say to people who are loudly, not insulting anyone, but loudly and rightfully so, affirming their support for a specific individual. I will speak to their passion. I would not poo-poo it. I would harness that passion. I would seek to gain their trust. And what do you mean by gaining the trust? I would reassure them, because there is a trust deficit in this country, in the political space. We have seen movements come and go. We have political slogans come and go. We have all of the things that are going on, and people really are jaded about all that. And there's an uncompromising position about, you know what, we have to get this right. We do not want a country anymore where the aspirations of young people are centered around how to leave the country. All right, so I would seek to gain trust with this demographic. I would not seek to lecture them, because truly you do not have a lot of moral authority as far as these young people are concerned, and that's just the truth. I would not lecture. I would seek to gain consensus. I would seek to gain their trust. I would seek to reassure that, hey, listen guys, we hear you, we understand you. Okay, so here's what we're going to do in this process. We're going to make it as transparent as possible, right? We're going to make sure that all voices are heard. I would not seek to be shutting down any voices at such an early stage in the process.
Just a moment. Let me land on my question. You have a huge command and control, and you have a huge command and control on the thoughts of a lot of Obident who listen to you and who seem to agree with you, and a lot of them out there believe that it's Obi or nothing.
Let me tell you something. That's a very wrong way of looking at it. Nobody has command and control. Nobody has command and control over Obident. No, and I repeat, nobody.
Not even Mr. Obi himself.
Not Mr. Peter Obi himself. Nobody has. These are people, and that's the uniqueness of the Obident movement. The people who are there, they came in on their own. Nobody went to go and break them. They came in on their own and saw this support. Remember that this whole started from, even though it's called Obident movement, it started from after NSAS, when politicians were saying to, to those who had been the protesters and everything, if you don't like what happened, change us. So by 2021, you could see they had started moving, getting people, mobilizing people to pick their PVCs, we're doing this and everything. And when Mr. Peter Obi came out, they saw that. By as far back as 2021, you can go and check my tweets. The tweets are still there. I had done a tweet where I gave a list of things that PDP needed to do. And one of them was, I was like, put Mr. Peter Obi at the forefront and Weke Jr. That was in 2021. By 2022, both of them had already, left the party. And so for him, that support, it's not about, there's someone who is telling them what to do. And these are people who are entrepreneurial. They have their jobs. They are not like the one that you are paying them 10. They give shishi. He's not paying anybody 10,000 every month for them to talk about him or to support him. They own their support. And they've repeatedly, most of them have repeatedly said that their support is not transferable. But let me tell you something. In 2014, and those tweets are still there, and I'll refer you to that tweet. And I did say that there was no how President Muhammadu Buhari, then General Muhammadu Buhari, was going to win election, especially after what had happened in Was that 2011? Yes, and all of that. I never wanted, to vote for. And even a lot of people, they were against me as of that time. But by February, I changed my mind. Why? Because there was someone who was a running mate, and that's Professor Yemi Osibanjo. And I keep saying it. I don't have Buhari and Obasanjo's regime. I don't have any issue with Buhari, however he did, whether the incompetence and whatever, because I never believed him in the first time. But it was Professor Yemi Osibanjo that I voted for, and a lot of Nigerians. And let me remind you, by December, he was the one that started the campaign. He was on the streets. He was in Molwe. He was meeting people in their houses. He was doing town hall. He was doing common sense revolution. I'm like, wow, this is something new. And we all know Buhari. I was 10 years old when Buhari first became president, December 31st. I turned 10 December 12, 1983, and December 31st, he became president. And it was him and Idiagbo. And we saw how Idiagbo. And over the years, even when he was at PTF, you saw he's always someone who delegates. So I'm like, okay, with someone like Professor Osibanjo, we're going to have it. And guess what? And so I voted for that, because I see a lot of people say, oh, but you were the one that brought Buhari. No, it was Yemi Osibanjo for me that I was bringing him. And after that, I remember they were saying, Buhari will take care of security, Yemi with economy. I said, okay, even if you have Yemi, if he delegates to him, that makes it better. And I put my neck out and I voted. And my voice was very loud. And all for them to come. And guess what? After that, I realized that a running mate is actually like a spare tire that you were driving and you now had a flat tire, and you open your boot and the spare tire was at home. You get it?
And sometimes spare tires never get used.
Apart from even getting used, even when you want to, it's even at home. So you need to go home and bring it. And so for me, Aisha Yesufu, I am not, and I will never again, I've learned from that experience, I will never again vote for a running mate or campaign for a running mate. My campaign is for whoever is in charge, the president, whoever has the presidency. No, so I'm not using the running mate candidate as what I'm campaigning for. So I want to see a presidential candidate who I know is the most competent, has the most character, has the most empathy, has the best interests of Nigeria at heart, is not held down by luggages, and at this moment also physically fit, mentally fit, to be able to take on the job.
It was also gathered that some ADC leaders, especially Northerners, displeased with what they describe as the overbearing attitude of Obi's promoters, had begun to withdraw from him. So what are we talking about? Do you think Peter Obi will succeed 2027 elections with this early rift within the party he just joined? Drop your response at the comment section, because we are already having a divide and elections hasn't even started. I leave that to you in the comment section. Kindly share your thoughts and opinion on this matter. Follow Voicetv Nigeria on all social media platforms. I am Patience Obot for Voicetv Nigeria.